My talk today was mainly about a new initiative that we are launching with WHO, with the strategic input of CHAI and UNICEF regarding which is called Secure, an antibiotic facility. And the mission of this initiative is really to expand access or accelerate access of essential antibiotics in the countries in need in order really to manage the emergence of drug-resistant bacterial infection. So as I said, Secure, it's an initiative, and the objective is to find a way to accelerate access to essential antibiotics. In fact, we have a huge problem regarding access of antibiotics worldwide, and especially in LMICs, low and medium income countries. And when I'm talking about antibiotics, I mean generic products such as penicillin, for example, because such product is not available in all the different countries, and you have a lot of shortages issue regarding this kind of product, but also new antibiotics in order really to manage drug-resistant bacterial infection. And such products are not available in all countries. In fact, they are only available in some countries in the US and Europe. So the objective and the mission of Secure is really to find a way to tackle all the different barriers linked to access, and really to ensure that all the countries in need will have access to a portfolio of essential antibiotics. And in fact, there is a lot of different barriers when we are looking at access to antibiotics. There are some barriers linked to the, I would say, optimal use and clinical data. We don't have a lot of information, clinical data, or evidence in order to understand how to use such products. So you will be in a situation where some countries' physicians don't know how to use such product because they don't have any data. In parallel, there is no market links to this kind of products. The market is quite small and predictable because in some countries you don't have data, so you don't know how to assess the situation, you don't know how to assess the burden. And in parallel, people are not using such products. So that's why it's a low volume product, or very, I would say it's becoming very difficult for the different companies to do something on that. The issue regarding the supply, how to ensure the product will be available at the country level. So you need to build all the supply chain. But if the market is not attractive, how to motivate the different manufacturers to be active on this question? And linked to that, I would say all the question regarding registration, how to ensure the product will be registered at the country level, because it's I would say expensive to do that, and the different manufacturers don't want to spend, I would say, the money and the time to do this kind of activities. So we have an issue regarding evidence, regarding distribution, regarding registration, but also we don't have any clear, I would say, access plan at the country level, and we don't have any funding in order to do that. So that's why there is a lot of different, I would say, barriers in order really to increase and to expand access to antibiotics in a lot of different countries. And I'm not talking about not only about low and middle income countries. In countries such as Japan, for example, it takes more than 5 years for Japan to have access to a new product. Same situation in other countries like the Nordic countries in Europe or Canada. So that's why what we are doing could be quite interesting for a lot of different countries. So on Secure, what we have done so far was first to clarify what we want to do. So we need to move from a concept to a project, but also linked to that just to ensure that everybody is aware regarding this kind of initiative. So we spent a lot of time to make some socialization of Secure, discussing with the civil societies, but also discussing with all the different industry players, because they are the owner of the product at the end of the day, but also with the different government from the G7, G20, but also at the country level. So one of the main achievements was to be on the G7 Health Minister Declaration last year and this year, but also in order really to launch this kind of initiative, what we need, it's some funding. So one of our main objectives was really to develop a fundraising plan, and we were quite happy to announce yesterday during the World Health Summit that we raised some money from Wellcome Trust and from Canada in order to help us to start working on this project, and ready to define what should be the modus operandi of Secure. So that's where we are right now. We also launched a website regarding Secure, and what we plan to do right now is really to continue to work on the project and ready to enter in this kind of development phase before launching the project in different countries. And our goal is by 2023, 2024, it's to launch Secure in at least 4 participating countries, ready just to test and to fine-tune what we want to do before moving to a full scale-up of the project. Well, the objective of Secure is really to, I would say, find a way for LMICs to have access to the product. And what is, I joined GARP 5 years ago, and I didn't realize the complexity of the area we are living right now linked to the emergence of resistance. And in fact, each time we are talking about access, we are talking about stewardship, so it means to ensure that the product will be accessible, but in parallel to ensure that the product will be used appropriately. And that's all the complexity of that, because we are trying to find a way to bring product in different countries, but just to ensure in parallel that the product will be used appropriately. So it means the volume would be quite low. And in parallel, we are just expecting that different people will take the lead in order really to develop some new antibiotics treatment, in order really to fight the emergence of resistance. So that's why an organization like GARP, Global Antibiotic Research and Development Partnership, is here as a non-for-profit organization in order really to develop new bacterial or new antibiotics treatment, but also ensuring access of this antibiotic treatment in the different countries in need. We are brainstorming right now to develop, I would say, this kind of program. Yesterday I saw that regarding Oxford University having this kind of postgraduate global public health program online, and their objective is really to make this kind of information and training regarding appropriate use of the different project or the different antibiotics. In parallel, within GARP, we have this kind of Revive platform in order really to do a lot of communication on what's going on antibiotics and why it's so important to use them appropriately. So maybe looking at the Revive platform could be a huge value for your audience.